Hey everybody, welcome to the inaugural episode of Card Talk, and I am one of your hosts, Dave Walsh.
And I am Grant Thompson.
Today we are going to talk about Frodo Baggins. Frodo Baggins is a hero that exists in the spirit sphere. He has 2 willpower, 1 strength, and 2 defense with 2 hit points, and has a threat cost of 7. He's got a really neat response, and I believe, and Grant, chime in if you know, right? Isn't he from Conflict of Carrick? Isn't that the adventure pack that he's from?
Yeah, that's correct. He's from the Conflict of the Carrick, the second adventure pack from the Shadows of Mirkwood cycle.
Yeah, so just looking at this card, I really enjoy Frodo. I built a lot of mono spirit decks and spirit decks that used Frodo because he is able to cancel damage and take threat. And that combination to me is amazing. I think that if you're going to play the adventure packs and the cycles and not the sagas, Frodo is a really good hero to use.
I'd agree with that. Frodo has a lot of grey about him. I mean, his willpower is always there for his constant 2 willpower. I mean, his attack stat is meh, but for a hobbit, what do you expect? You can't have a big beefy hobbit with 3 attacks going around smashing orcs. They're all about hiding, secrecy. So having, say, Frodo with a low threat stat of 7, and he can take damage once per phase as threat, is key. And if you combo that well with greeting or say a hobbit pipe and smoke rings, you're able to reduce that threat that you've just taken.
And that's what I think is brilliant, is that it's in the spirit sphere, which naturally has that threat reduction in ways to kind of mitigate the threat that he could accumulate in some of the tougher quests where you're trying to cancel damage and save, heroes and things like that.
Yeah, trying to go up against the trolls from Conflict at the Carrick with just Frodo as a defender. Not a good idea unless you've got that threat reduction ready.
So that's one of the reasons why I think he's, I would say, a pretty heavy contender for one of my favorite heroes. And the other thing that I like about Frodo is that you don't have to exhaust him in order to use his ability. His response is just cancel the damage, and he can use that once per phase.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty overpowered if you just took off that once per phase and just said any damage he would be dealt, increased threat by that damage. Right. You would just be like, oh, well, there's a Necromancer's Reach. Taking this threat. There's another Necromancer's Reach. There's just some more threat.
In my opinion, it's almost a little OP that you can use it once per phase. Like if you get damage on the when revealed in the encounter deck or something, and then all of a sudden, you can cancel that damage, and then you can do it again in the defense phase, and then if you get something in the attack phase, it's just you can continually use it, and that's
yeah. But you've also got to keep in mind of the threat you will gain by using that ability so often. You've got to use it with discretion. So yes, if you running a low threat deck, you can take more of that damage as threat. But if you're running Boromir and Aragorn, who both got high threat, and you're constantly taking that, holding that up, you're going to be engaging more of the enemies that are coming down to hit you, and you're just pumping your threat up until it says, right, you've threated out.
Right.
Next player.
Actually, you're bringing up something really funny. When I play, I always have a tendency to lose track of a threat when it comes like 1 or 2 at a time, as opposed to, would you take a 10 threat hit because you can't quest and there's 7 enemies in the staging area and you need them to defend or so, something like that. It's like, I feel, and so it's almost like the dinking the thread on you is, you end up losing track of, and that's actually a good point to bring up, is you have to keep your eye on the threat dial.
But one of the newer cards that I found works very well with Frodo is Friend of Friends if you're running a Hobbit deck.
Yes. I actually run that in my Hobbit deck now, as you need 2 copies. You put one on 2 different hobbits, and they get +1 to each of their attributes and +1 hit point for 1 cost each. Yeah. And so that's a really good thing. And I think his stat lines are pretty solid for a Hobbit. And I think that's what you were really getting at.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the only bad thing about Frodo is the fact that he's only got that one attack power. So if they put that maybe on his willpower or his defense, or even as an added hit point, would have probably made him that little bit more durable for like some of the later game sagas, likes of say some of the print on demand stuff, likes of Battle at Lake Town or Conflict of the Stone of Eric or something.
Right. What else about Frodo? Like, what do you think he pairs with? I mean, friend of friends, definitely, but what, like...
There's, like I said, you have stuff like Smoke Rings and Hobbit Pipe and Hobbit Pony that are all later cards that have come out since the introduction of the Black Riders.
Right.
But back at the core set in Shadow of Mirkwood and what have you, there was no real Hobbit attachments other than Fast Hitch. But now, since the Hobbit cards, there is a lot more there to build upon.
And I guess Bill the Pony is nice with this because it gives an extra hit point. And then also, Sam, not the hero Sam, but the ally Sam is a spirit ally. And so, Bill the Pony is free if you control Sam, whether it's Sam the ally or Sam the hero.
Sam, who usually costs 3, with Frodo only costing 1.
Right.
And then you spend that resource and you're getting 3 willpower per pony for, say, 2 resources.
Right. Which is big time. Right. If the first round, you can bring out Sam for 1 and Bill the Pony for 0, and you have now a pretty powerful, couple of allies. Now, drawing those cards in the first round may be wishful thinking.
Well, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that just comes down to luck. And stack the deck in your favour, but then you've got a couple of dud cards because they're both unique allies. They're not like, say, Bill the Pony is unique. It's not like it's just like, oh, you can have 3 Bill the Ponies out there. That's an extra 3 lots of hit points for your hobbits. It's like just Frodo would now tend to draw to is Rosie Cotton.
It just seems that, to me, Frodo is a pretty versatile, low-threat hero. Like, even if you're not going to use him in a Hobbit deck, I feel like he's just kind of a utility hero that has a really good response.
Definitely. I mean, don't get us wrong, I like Frodo. I haven't used him as much since of later cards, which I've found that have more hit points and best stats, but Frodo is still one of my favourite heroes from the Spirit Sphere. I wouldn't say he's my most favourite, but he's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I think that I have other kind of spirit heroes that I'm in love with more. But yeah, so Frodo is go-to.
Being one of the 4 spirit heroes that have come out from the core set, because you had your 3 core set heroes. He was the first one released in the adventure pack for the spirit hero, and a lot was riding on him because most people think of Lord of the Rings, they think of Frodo Baggins. They don't think of, say, Glorfindel or big, like, book heroes. They just think what they've seen in the movie. They think of Frodo.
Right.
And Sam. And what have you. And then, so he had a lot riding on him. And I think they did a brilliant job with Spirit Frodo.
I think so, too.
In honour of it being the one ring to rule them all, I think we should use rings as the scale.
Okay. So the rating scale out of rings. And so if it's the one ring to rule them all, do we make one the best or the worst?
Well, as many people would say, yes, one and done.
One and done, okay. So I'm going to start this off by saying that if I'm going to rank Frodo on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is the best, then I'm going to make Frodo a 3. Frodo's a 3. He's really versatile. He goes in a lot of decks, but, throughout the game, we talked about how he can't be used in all the scenarios because of the saga, and he still doesn't have a huge stat line that I like to have. but definitely a versatile go-to hero.
Yeah, I'd agree with what you've said there. And in respect of that, I've put him at a solid 4 rings because although he's all around great, he's just not all there. If he had something that would have increased his stats just that little bit without having to rely on so many other cards, I'd probably have given him a 3 or possibly a 2 ring system, but at the minute, it's just not there.
Yeah. So join us next time as we go over Lore Bilbo and talk about all his goods, bads, and uglies.